Hello, 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 hello. It is Friday, April 1st, April Fool's Day. Hi, guys. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Friday. This is the first show in my series for Six Figure Real Estate University. Um, this is a show that we are gearing towards agents, my coaching and training series, and just conversations that are going to help us in today's real estate market, which is a tough one out there. I know you guys are experiencing the same trials, tribulations, traumas that I am. And, because of my influence in the real estate business, I just kind of want to offer some insights on what to do, how to do it, how to get an offer accepted in this crazy, crazy market. I get it. Cash is king, but financing offers are still being accepted. So don't get too discouraged because I am able to get offers accepted. Um, we'll talk about part of my strategy. Today, I'll have on Zach Davidson with Movement Mortgage. I'm going to bring him in. He's just going to talk about what can you do to help your offer. He's going to talk about contingencies and what the impact will be for using these contingencies for the future. We're going to talk about just having these lender relationships and also which locations, which areas of town are accepting what particular loans, because it does matter where you're putting in offers at if that offer is going to be accepted or not. That's what we're seeing a lot of. So now I'm going to go ahead and have Jack, can't get his name out. And I'm going to go ahead and have Zach Davidson join us. Hi,
Hey, Lakisha. Happy Friday.
Zach. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
There it is. Okay, cool. Hey, Lakisha. How you doing?
I'm good. Look at you. You're at a loft. That's nice.
Wow. No, this is my kitchen. This is my place. Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Doing great. It's a beautiful day. I can't believe we're already into April. Q2. I was kind of closing out the month yesterday and just like, oh. So yeah. How are you doing?
Crazy. Like, have you seen a lot of contracts this month? Are things thinner? Like, what's going on in your world?
Things are definitely slowing down. The refis have kind of, you're seeing the refis, since rates are going up, refis have essentially been kind of slowing down a lot. I think I've got like 2 more coming in that we're working on, but it's also different situations. Contracts, you're getting some here or there. It's interesting though, because, typically everyone's wanting to do, how quickly can you close? Like, can we close in 30 days? Can we close in 21 days? Can we whatever? But now, I've got a couple contracts just this week and they're not wanting to close until May.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the contracts are still trickling in, but now we're seeing those longer close dates. So
okay. Well, that's okay. Offers are still getting accepted. Things are still closing. So we got agents tuned in today, that are out here in this market like myself. We're doing everything but sell our firstborn.
Say, God bless y'all. God bless y'all.
To get these offers accepted. And I just wanted to bring you on to talk from a loan officer standpoint. And just to give you guys some history, me and Zach kind of started in the real estate business together almost 9 years ago. June is my 9-year anniversary.
Oh my God, yeah.
We started together. He was the preferred lender at my office at the time, and we just kind of connected. We worked well together, done a lot of deals, a lot of business together over the past 9 years. So he's my friend and trusted lender. So what this man says, I definitely listen to and believe. He's with Movement Mortgage, and he definitely has some good insight that I can just kind of share with you guys. Literally, I am big on building rapport with these agents who are the listing agents. I don't just stick an offer in their inbox and hope and pray they find it and, present it to their sellers. I am literally calling, saying, hey, how are you doing? No text messaging. If I can't get them on the phone, absolutely, I'll send a text. But I'm definitely calling, building that rapport, letting them know who I am, letting them know I'm a Keller Williams agent. People love Keller Williams. Hey. So people want to work with me because they know how we do business. But we definitely need that lender input. Like a lot of times, I'll call you and say, "Hey, can you call that listing agent and just introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about our buyer, but just kind of walk us through what you're seeing that's working in order to get these offers accepted."
Honestly, Lakisha, that's a big piece of it because, like you said, like it's kind of building that rapport. It's, hey, I'm not just an email popping up, or I'm not just a text message. They're hearing a voice. You've got some charm too. I'll try to charm a little bit too. So it's like, that's one thing that it really does help, because all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? The listing agents hear this, like, you know what? I think I do want to work with this person for 30 days. So I completely agree with you. That was one of the things I'm going to say. Hey, one of the biggest things, we can we'll hop around lender relationships and whatnot, but that's one thing you can do is get the process started earlier to help your offer. Get that pre-approval done. Pre-qualified doesn't fly no more. Get your lender calling the listing agent. Hey, what questions do you have about this offer? And then just kind of hey, here's the highlights. We got great credit. We got some extra cash if we need to. Ratios are strong, so we can kind of work with some stuff here. You don't want to give away everything, but you want to give them the warm fuzzies.
Yes, yes. Now, I know I hear a lot of agents, and I personally have not done this. Removing contingencies from the contract kind of makes me, cringe for my clients sometimes.
Yeah.
So what is your best advice on that, or what are you seeing that works in this market with removing appraisal and finance contingencies? What are you feeling? What are your feelings around that? Being honest, and what are you seeing that's working?
So this is one thing that lots of people right now are doing to help their offer. And yeah, you're right. I personally, I'm not a fan. Because you can have, you and I have been doing this long enough to we know we can cover all of our bases, and something weird pops up out of left field, and you're like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And then it's also, if something does happen, a situation changes or whatever with the buyer, there's no protection for them or whatever. Yeah. So, even the most rock solid clients, I still like to get them in front of an underwriter, just, with the contract, with the actual property, because we'll do, you were asking about our pre-underwrite, and, we essentially will underwrite the client just as a buyer without the contract.
Yes.
And so that's our movement buyer's advantage.
I love
it. Yeah. And, back we used to do it just for self-employed, any kind of, fluctuating income situation. But now we're seeing that. So that way we can avoid the financing, can drop the financing contingency. There's still the property though, because when you're getting underwritten, there's 4 keys. 3 of them are the buyer themselves, and the 4th one's actually the property. So It's kind of like, I still want, I'm with you. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I completely get it. I understand if a listing agent's getting 30 offers and 25 of them look the same, what can you do to differentiate yourself?
Yeah, what do we want to stand out?
I'm asking, with financing, like, hey, if we, not everyone should drop the financing contingency for the record. And that's one thing, I know you're probably having that conversation with your clients big time. Hey, have that agents, anyone out there, have that conversation, because ultimately I would leave it up to them if they want to gamble, because sometimes, and talk to the loan officer. What are we looking here? Are there any things that, any pitfalls that we see? I can get my financing contingency down. I do as low as 3 days, but it helps when you got some underwriting.
Zach can do a finance contingency for 3 days.
3 days.
Agents are going to hold you to that, Zach.
I know, that's the thing. With our underwriting turn times, it's a lot easier. That's one of the benefits to movement. Is just our underwriting term times are just lightning quick. So we get everything up front before we even got the contract. We're getting that thing in as soon as we got the contract, and that's the goal. Typically, if you ask me, I'll always say the more days, the better. But if we, of course. Now the appraisal contingency, that's where it gets a little bit trickier.
What are you seeing on timelines for appraisal turnaround in this market?
So, Lakisha, you and I both will, I joke we're like Batman. We'll go wherever we need to around town to do stuff for our clients. So, it depends on what part of town you're in. If you're in town, like in Atlanta or in one of the major suburb areas, 12 to 14-ish days, somewhere in that ballpark, 17 sometimes.
Okay.
Um, Now, the further out you get from town, the harder it gets. I mean, I just had a closing last month where it took us 32 days to get the appraisal back.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's unheard of.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there, but it's still it happened. So it was, so again, agents talk to your lenders. Hey, what do you got with your lender partner? Hey, what are you seeing here? What's going on? What part of town are we looking in? And also to kind of piggyback off that, depending on how much the buyer's looking to put down and what's been going on in that area, we can actually get an appraisal waiver, which is a godsend. And essentially, we just need to know the property address and we can run it through our DU system, our desktop underwriter, for anybody who doesn't know. And essentially it's stating, we run it through Fannie and Freddie and say, hey, here's what we got for it, whatever. And they'll kick it out and say, this looks good. And so that's so that's one thing that helps with the pre-approval, and that the movement buyers, the pre-underwrite before the contract.
Now, with the desktop underwriting for the appraisal, are we allowed to put 0 days in the block for appraisal contingency if we're doing the desktop underwriting on the address?
We do that for everything, and they'll tell you if you get a waiver or not. The only thing is you got to know the property address.
Of course.
So, yeah. So if you have the property address and DU says, hey, you know what? This sales price is actually pretty good with what we've been seeing, we can go ahead and get that waiver. So then you don't even need an appraisal contingency. So it's all on the front end too. That's the kicker. So it's
all about being able to write 0 days in that block so that the seller is confident that, hey, that's not going to be a holdup for us on the appraisal.
Yeah, one less thing to worry about. That to echo what you're saying, but yeah.
Now, what I'm seeing in this market, there's so many. Everyone can't get approved to go conventional. It just is what it is. Like, everyone is not a conventional loan buyer. What are you seeing for people with FHA loans, and what areas are you seeing those types of loans being accepted in? Because I am finding it is territorial.
It completely is. You're absolutely right. Because one thing, going back to the contingencies, FHA doesn't have an appraisal contingency. It's for the whole process.
Right.
So when folks see that, FHA and VA, they're like, some of the listing agents, and which is it's a shame. It shouldn't be like that. It really shouldn't. However, that's just where we're living in right now. I have not seen too many FHA I just closed one in Locust Grove. So it's kind of in like the neighborhood's a little bit out of town, not necessarily. I mean, I don't know about Cobb County, like Marietta. Like I don't think I've seen an FHA over there in a second. Wow. But there's some neighborhoods, Stockbridge. There's still some stuff that's closing FHA. Now, again, it might be a little bit more suburban than what it used to be. But that's some of these spots that these hot neighborhoods that are getting 30 offers on a house. It's pretty. I hate to say it, but it seems like the FHA and VAs are getting thrown out right away.
Yeah, so and I really just hate that in this market, because those folks work so hard, just like your conventional loan buyers, to get approved for a mortgage, and then it's like, I'm FHA, so I can't buy anything. No one will accept my offer. And that's where that building rapport, those skills come in again, because I have gotten FHA offers accepted.
Yeah, you've had, we had that other one like 2 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have had them, but it's been far and few in between. I have to be honest. I definitely have to call and do some extra begging if it's an FHA buyer, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. The rapport there, and honestly, there's some stuff you can say, hey, there's some tricks that we can do with an FHA with the appraisal gap. It's like you can switch it to a 203K, and then, hey, let's do some stuff to, we'll do some renovations, whatever they wanted to do. And with that, there's the appraisal value. You can go up to 110% of the appraised value in renovation. Don't quote me on that. Now I'm second guessing that number, but you can go over the appraisal value within a certain percentage with the FHA 203K. So there are some things to combat that as far as the appraisal piece.
Now, give me your honest opinion. This is completely opinion-based. What do you think? Because I'm literally seeing homes go 20, 30. I've even seen a home go $100,000 over list price. What are you thinking about the long-term effect of that? Be honest.
It's kind of interesting because a lot of people reference hey, this crash is the housing market has to correct this shift, the crash, whatever. They're referring back to '08,
Yeah,
and a lot of issues with the '08 crisis was people were upside down.
yeah,
And so right now, I mean, I think you and I are safe to say, like, this is the highest prices have ever been. I mean, we've been higher than pre-crash prices since I believe 2017. So it's getting further and further. And now there's no appraisals. People are or they're doing appraisals, but they're waiving the contingency. So then that means they have to bridge the gap, whatever. I mean, you talk about people being upside down. Like if this shift or this pricing correction ever does actually come and happen, which I think it will, and I think it needs to.
hmm
It's just the lack of inventory is keeping prices, just driving prices.
yes,
So I think you're going to see more people upside down here sooner rather than later than last, because all these people are buying at the height and they're buying over. So if you're worried about being upside down, I mean it's a very real thing. I would say make sure your monthly payment is something that you can handle, and just be prepared to button down the hatches, because I mean you might not if you go to sell in the next you buy tomorrow, you go to sell in 2-3 years. If the correction happens before then, you might be paying to get out of the house. So that's it just depends on when this correction actually happens, though.
yeah. So I mean, we all know after inflation definitely comes recession, unfortunately, the dreaded R word. So it's just kind of like wait and see what happens, but we know it's coming at some point. Because, like you said, we're gonna have to price correct at some point. So.
And we have to. We absolutely have to. Now, when that'll ever happen, who knows? I feel like right now with the way the economy's going in America, we're just hey, we can't go backwards. So, but
Exactly.
yeah, so it's. I mean, you can't keep having people pay, 30, 50, $100,000 over appraisal value or ask price or anything like that, and not expect to be, kind of upside down here in a little bit. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
that's what I'm thinking. Is looming, and when I do my contracts for my clients, usually I'll just say, hey, let's pick a number and let's say what you can comfortably afford to go over, and I'll just do an appraisal situation where, hey, we cap it at 5,000, we cap it at $10,000, and that's it. We're stopping it. We're not going
Yeah.
$40,000 over list price. That's a lot for me. And it's kind of scary, to be honest with you.
I completely agree. That's the thing. It's another. Hey, agents, talk to your clients. Are you sure? Think long term here, because this is their biggest asset. This is the biggest thing that they'll buy. So I mean, hey, is this worth it to you? Is this your 15, 20? Like if they're going to stay there forever,
Mhm.
they could pay $1 million over it. If it's worth it to them, it's worth it to them, and they stay there forever. They're going to get the value or money back, so to speak.
What's the average timeline that you're seeing people stay in homes, in your opinion or in your?
It's dropping fast. Lakisha, correct me if you've heard something different, but I mean, it used to be 8 or 9 years. Now, last I heard, I believe it was like 6.5, 7 years that the average empire
5 to 7 years, and my clients are calling me back. Either they're wanting to upsize because their family has grown, or they want to downsize because the kids have left the nest and they bought these big mini mansions and they don't need the space anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a lot more than it was. That's for sure.
Yes, yes. So just to recap some of the information that we talked about. So building that rapport, agent with the listing agent, to let them know your offer is coming. You building those relationships so that they are expecting your offer and they want to work with you. Definitely using the appraisal contingencies wisely, like Zach said, maybe doing some desktop underwriting so you know for sure that property is not going to be an issue, that the value is there. And also trying our best to get our clients conventionally approved. What are some of the tips and tricks to getting a client conventionally approved? If they are falling up under that FHA category, what are some of the things you're telling buyers to do to up their scores in order to be FHA approved?
So the biggest thing is typically if they're looking at FHA, it's usually credit or it's down payment. So we're just going to scrap the down payment for right now. Focus on credit, like you said. Biggest thing, I mean, I'll review the credit report and say, hey, go through. And just for the record, I am not a credit repair specialist. However, I've been doing this a little bit long, enough times where I can say, okay, hey, okay, I think we, work on this credit balance, whatever. Maybe, whatever, this trade line over here as well. Or sometimes it's just time. If it's late payments, you just need some time between it. So it's like, hey, keep doing what you're doing. You just got to pay your bills on time. Right. Now, credit balances, I know people are like, 33% is the magic number.
It's not.
No, they've changed how they've rescored. Like, they changed how they score credit these days. They've changed it 3 times, at least twice since you and I have been doing this, Lakisha. I think a third time just came out. Mm-hmm. They want to see you pay off. Credit cards are the best indicator of credit usage.
Okay.
Credit cards. And I tell everybody, hey, pay off your credit card at the end of every month. You carry a balance. As long as you make your payment on time, yeah, that's good. But if you pay it off at the end of every month, that's great. People try authorized users. That's half the time underwriters will make them remove the authorized user account. Okay. It's kind of tricky, as far as that goes. Sometimes it's opening a new credit card, a secured credit card, and using it for gas or groceries. Well, I would say groceries now more than gas. But paying it off at the end of every month, and then that will boost your score. Within 3 to 6 months, your score could be a world of difference.
People ask me that all the time. How can I get my scores up? I want to get qualified for a house, and I give them some of the same tips and tricks. So lastly, Zach, the dreaded, what is the interest rate? Interest rate looking like?
Today, actually, the market looked pretty good today.
Good. Give us what we're looking at: 3.8, 4.25. What are we looking like?
I think with the A+ credit, when I'm pulling it, actually, I could pull it right now. I'll tell you.
A+ credit. First of all, let's explain to people what your consideration of A+ credit is.
Yeah, great question. So A+ credit. So the credit scores are tiered out, and so essentially every 20 points is a different tier. And so what you're looking at is the highest score that you can get is, the highest tier is 740 and above. Okay. So if you're at 740 or above, you're doing great. You're just showing off. That's, you're in the top tier A+ credit score. Now, if you're that 720 to 739, then, that's pretty good. 700 to 719, it's, it's good, and so forth. Okay. So right now, just going back to what you said, ask about, hey, we're trying, we're in that FHA range. We want to get conventional. The magic number I'm seeing as far as conventional credit scores right now is 680. Okay.
680, guys. Everyone hear that? 680 on the credit score.
The guidelines say you can go down to 620. However, they've been a little bit fishy. They've been I've been seeing some loans that used to go conventional that are not getting the conventional approval nowadays. So 680 magic number for right now. Yes. Unless you're putting down more money. Like if you don't have quite the 680, be prepared for at least 10, 15, 20% down. But if you're looking at this like 3, 5, below 10%, some 10% still have to do to be a 680. Okay. And so, rates you're kind of seeing for a primary residence, you're kind of seeing them like the lowest to mid 4s right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That is so high. We're going back to 06.
We're going back. It's telling you that's yeah.
No more 2.7s, no more 3.1s.
They gone. Okay, they gone. The boat's gone. Yeah. See ya. Bon voyage. I would say, the 3 point. I haven't seen anyone get back into the 3 range, 3% range in probably a month or so. But it's without buying points.
Yeah.
So a lot of lenders are actually showing quotes with points on it now, and that's one thing that we're having to adjust to because I'm not a points guy unless you're interested in it.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's we're in the 4% range. Lakisha, I would have told you by the end of the year we'd probably be flirting with 5%. The way things are going right now, we might be at 5% by the end of the summer. So just keep that in mind, and it's not to scare anybody or gloom and doom or anything like that. It's just keeping it real because
all buyers, hey, if you are thinking about, just have toyed with the idea of buying a house, you may want to strike sooner than later because these interest rates are going to determine what your mortgage payments are going to be.
Yeah.
As they creep up, those mortgage payments are getting higher and higher and higher. So if you're considering buying, now is the time to buy.
Yeah, now's the time to see what your options are and kind of get an idea of what you can qualify for. I completely agree, because the sooner you start, honestly, you're seeing this probably too, Lakeisha. Historically, sometimes buyers won't really get that fire lit until they see what they want. But now, by the time you see it, if you don't offer it right then,
It's done. I
it's
tell
done.
my clients, if you sleep on it, you won't sleep in it. I mean that. Like,
I believe that's good. That's true. It's totally true. So I'm telling more and more people, like, they're like, oh, we're not quite ready. We're just kind of, I'm like, the problem is you won't be ready until you see that thing, and then you're gonna say, I want it, and it's like it's too late. So you got to be ready right now, because I mean, yes, especially with what if we're trying to come in. If you want to drop your contingencies down, we got to know what we're playing with.
exactly. Well, Zach, this was great information you shared with me, with other agents, and potential buyers out here that have logged on. Like I said, guys, this is our first episode of Six Figure Real Estate University. There is more great information to come for you guys to help you guys navigate this market. We're going to get through this. Zach, thank you so much for your time. You're awesome. Great information. And hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Thanks, Lakeisha.
All right. Take care. Bye, guys.
Yeah,
Happy
everybody.